All right, I'm back. Had some technical difficulties, but we're going to try this again. Meeting my friend Debra Pascali. Trying a new location. All right, this is Sheila Kamara Hay, and I'm introducing Debra Pascali Bonaro of Orgasmic Birth. Let's see if we can get her on here. There you are. Now I see you. Hi.
Hi. Good. I'm glad now it worked.
Yes.
It was definitely something was weird there, but I'm glad we changed location and we're both back.
Yeah, it might have been a connection issue. So welcome everyone. Debra and I are here together today to talk about pleasure and birth and what you can do to call that in 2019.
Fantastic. Share a little bit about you since some new people are just joining.
All right, yeah. So my name is Sheila Kamara Hay. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the founder of Ecstatic Birth, and I'm really passionate for women to know that birth is a journey that you can enjoy, not just endure. And it's my passion and my pleasure to support women in that journey, to support birth practitioners in that journey, and to really share tools for you to be able to use pleasure to support you as you're birthing and to call in pleasure into your body in that experience. Debra, why don't you share a little about you now?
Thank you. So I'm Debra Pascali Bonaro, and I am the director of the documentary Orgasmic Birth and co-author of the book Orgasmic Birth. So like you, Sheila, we have so much pleasure together because I really like to talk about how pleasure and sexuality and the sacredness of birth, we kind of forget to combine so many elements. We get so stuck in the physical nature or often in pain and fear that we don't realize all that's available to us. And I'm also a doula trainer, so I have an opportunity of both attending births literally around the world and working with doulas, midwives, doctors, educators, and parents around the world and helping them learn more natural ways that they can reclaim their birth. So truly a pleasure to be here with you today and combine both our wisdom and expertise.
Yes. So Debra and I thought it would be fun to share some of our top tips for pleasure and birth, and then we're going to invite you into an opportunity to work with the two of us in the coming year and double your pleasure in that process. So should we just kick off with the tips? Yeah?
Definitely.
Right.
And for those that are live with us, we're going to do our tips and then we'd love to hear from you. So please stay into the end for Q&A.
Yes, and I can see the comments, I believe. So if anybody does have any questions or comments or anything that you want us to address, it would be our pleasure. Just put it in there. You can put it in the comments or you can private message us later if you see this, if you're watching a recording of this later. All right, so that said, I'm going to dive right in. So the first tip that I have to share is I really, really encourage you to honor the design of your body. Now, we kind of live in a world where we're trying to fit in. We're trying to appease. We are one person fitting into a system, and that system has not always been honoring of the woman's body. That system has been designed by other people for lots of other reasons, one of them being safety. You know, fear has been really up front and center when it comes to the care of women in birth. And so while safety is really, really important, there is nothing that makes you safer than actually honoring the processes of your body. Because when you're not honoring the process of your body, you're making everything much harder and your body has to work harder. And so what I mean by that is really consider, what does it take for your body to open? What does it take for your body to feel pleasure? What does it take for your body to surrender? All of these are really important facets of birth. And so create your environment with that in mind. Bring the people in with that in mind and really be fierce about that. You know, you are the person that is birthing. You're the goddess incarnate. New life is coming into the world through your body. And so your body's processes and what you need to be able to open and allow that energy flow and to feel pleasure and to surrender to the process is of utmost importance.
Fantastic. And my tip number 2 is to prioritize comfort, pleasure, and movement. So really kind of adding right on to what you just said, Sheila, because so important we prioritize. But I like to say to people, tour where you're giving birth. Now, if this happens to be your home, you don't need a tour. It's very easy to know what's available to you. But many people today are going to a hospital or a birth center, wherever you feel safe. And you want to know at least 5 to 10 things that are available there for comfort and movement. You are bringing the biggest thing ever that you've had in your body, your beautiful babe, out. And the idea that people should give it up and lay down. I mean, whose comfort is that for? That's usually more for the comfort of our caregivers, because when you're trying to birth something as big as a 6 to a 10-pound baby, gravity works. But movement is actually part of pleasure. So belly dancing was historically preparation for birth. So women knew how to move their bodies and their hips and get that baby dancing down into the world. And so we need to be in environments, as you said, Sheila, that help us feel safe, give us the privacy, but actually encourage us to move in ways that feel pleasurable and bring comfort to our body. I can tell you that the minute you lay down, science tells us your labor is longer, harder, and more painful. So unless you want a longer, harder, more painful labor, you need to find lots of ways to move in labor. And I always love to bring that analogy to sexuality. And most of us, whether we're being intimate all alone or with a partner, rarely just stay completely still and completely silent. And so really seeing that we have to be able to move in ways that bring us pleasure and openness.
I love that. And you know that I danced through one of my births. So that's a personal favorite of mine, that tip. All right, I'm going to build on that and say you can consciously use pleasure to support your flow. Now, what do I mean by that? Exactly what Debra was saying. You can use song, you can use movement, you can use all of these things. One of the things that slows labor is your resistance, your body clamping down. So physically clamping down, like scrunching yourself up in resistance to the sensation, and also energetically closing your energetic channels because it just feels like too much. So pleasure, when you experience pleasure in your body, whether that's physical pleasure or the sound of music you like, or whatever sort of pleasure, actually allows you to surrender. It allows your body to feel safe, relaxed, to open into your flow. And then the sensation of sensual pleasure in particular will stimulate oxytocin flow in your body. And oxytocin is that yummy hormone that regulates the flow of labor and also feels really good. It's released with orgasm. It's released with nipple stimulation. It's released with cuddling. It's released with eye gazing. So consciously incorporating some sensual pleasure that feels good to you while in labor will actually support the flow of your labor and will also have you feeling good.
I love it. And building right on is, how do we transform birth with pleasure and love? It's just that opening, as you said, to that hormone of oxytocin. And I often wonder why, when we're preparing for birth, we're not talking about love. We know that many times we've conceived in love, and whether that was on our own or today to honor people that have challenges, and even with infertility, it's still out of love that they desire to welcome this new body to be into their body and into the world. And so we need to really look at the love elements, and oxytocin is one of them, as you said, and I love the nipple stimulation and masturbation. We just had a birth story come in yesterday that had me like in tears, both of joy and just pleasure, talking about love and also talking about masturbation and what a tool it was during labor. And she could actually feel the pleasure, and when she didn't, she felt the pain. So when we ride those waves, those expansion of love, and whatever that means, sometimes it's someone whispering in your ear their little love notes. I love your love on the wall, right? And It can be me as a doula, you know, being able to bring my love. Every person that you invite into your birth is either going to help you feel powerful, strong, loved, supported, respected, or sadly, sometimes if you leave it up to random, then people sometimes come in and they're in a bad mood today, or they just aren't digging the way you're birthing. So you need to not only first love yourself, because it begins with us, and really be able to look in the mirror and say, I love myself, but invite the people into the room who will love you through labor so that you can love your baby collectively all together into the world. So important, right? That we ask ourselves that question, how can I bring more love to open to birth?
I love that. I love that. And that really touches on this idea that the birthing field is contagious and that your body is going to soak in whatever is present, especially when you're in labor. So our last tip, and that segues really well, is we really encourage you to surround yourselves with circles of support and communities, like-minded communities. So what Debra and I are talking about is not obviously the mainstream birth that you hear about around, you know, community tables. It's very, very different. And while I'm really proud to say, since Debra's film came out and we've both been doing this work in the last 10 years, it's really, the discourse has really taken off and you do hear more and more positive birth stories. But for the most part, this is still very revolutionary. This is still very progressive. And so it's really, really important to consciously choose who you're talking to about your birth, who you're preparing for your birth with, and really make sure that those people, those classes, whatever you're doing is coming from a like-minded place, because people mean well, but when you're trying to create something that's different from the norm, that can sometimes be triggering for other people. Do you want to add anything to that, Debra?
Yes. No, that's so true, right? And I want to add that science supports this. We're not suggesting something that's kind of different, and some people say, is that like woo-woo or whatever. I really work with evidence-based practice. I always say that a sexy birth is a scientific birth. Science now really supports that when we move into birth from that place of community that gives us the information, the knowledge, and the power, we can create a birth I think that everybody deserves to have a gentle birth with love and pleasure as a tool in whatever way that you view pleasure. So important that you know where you're getting your information and that you feel safe and really supported in where you're gathering it. And that's why we're here today, to give you double the pleasure.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say that if you want a copy of this video or if you want a copy of the tips, we made a bit.ly link, bit.ly/pleasurebirth, and you can go there and to get access to all of that. And I'm also going to be sharing with you, because Debra and I are consciously creating these communities of support, right? So if you opt in, you'll get resources from us, you'll get tips from us. And one of the things that I want to share with you all is a very simple body practice that can help, that you can tap into to start, you know, really connecting to your body and connecting to the pleasure within. So if you go to bit.ly/pleasurebirth, you'll be able to opt in there and get all those, you know, juicy resources that we want to share with you. And then we have created a combined offer for 2 of our programs. Debra, why don't you talk about Pleasure Essentials first, and then I'll talk about Ecstatic Goddess.
Okay, so Pleasure Essentials is 5 modules that will take you through all the basics that you need to know about childbirth. So how to move, like we were talking about, some of the just basic physiology, the hormones of labor and birth, but also how to use pleasure as a tool. So it's an online childbirth class that will prepare you for everything that you and your partner need to know to really feel that you have the knowledge and that you'll take back your power in birth.
Man, I wish that was available when I was preparing. There's no one more qualified to teach this class than Debra, so I highly recommend it. And I am offering something called the Ecstatic Goddess, which is based on all of my work with birthing moms and with birth practitioners, but it's opening up this work to everybody. So what does that even mean? There is a wisdom to birth that translates into how we create anything in life, how we birth our projects, how we birth our metaphorical babies, how we birth our dreams and desires. So this is relevant, yes, to expectant moms, yes, to birth practitioners, but also to women at large who would like to find another way. And I remember when I was birthing my babies, after my first birth, which was fairly traumatic, I just felt like I need to find another way. So if you're feeling that way in relation to birthing a baby or supporting your clients or something else, this course actually takes you through the stages of from conception to pregnancy to gestation to the 3 stages of birth, and talks about, well, what are the things that are happening in the world outside that are not honoring our feminine design, and how can we honor our feminine design so it feels like less of a struggle and more of a pleasure as we create. So those are the 2 courses that we're combining for the 2 of you. And is there anything you wanted to add there, Debra?
I want to just say what a gift, Sheila, because your work is extraordinary. And I know from the people that have taken our combo offer in the past, they have said, what a brilliant combination, because why ours is geared to doulas and people that are pregnant, every person really truly deserves to manifest whatever they want to birth in life. And you do such an incredible job. The words I've heard from people is really life-changing. So thank you for what you're doing. And I know personally in our relationship, you're always lifting me higher. You're always helping me go deeper into my desires and manifest in new ways. So your creative energy is extraordinary. So anyone listening, really, I couldn't recommend more. I certainly love you, Sheila, and I love being able to bring both our offerings together.
Yeah, you are one of my favorite people to collaborate with, Debra, because I also have so much respect and so much love for you, and know that what you have to offer is life-changing and world-changing. So how do I do this? Should I just give a link, or should we talk about,
Yeah, I would say give a link.
Okay, so if you go to ecstatic-birth.com/SG, you will see the registration for Ecstatic Goddess. Now, I'm going to give you a code, which is 2x pleasure, so 2 times the pleasure. And that code, what it'll do, it'll give you a discount off my program as is, and it will also give you access to Debra's Pleasure Essentials. So basically, you're going to get both of our programs for less than the price of one of them, which is, it's like a fun little thing that Debra and I like to do, because we believe so strongly in our work, in the work of each other, and the value it has for all of you. And that's why we do this. So that's where you can sign up if you like. And if you want more information, I would really encourage you, just go to bit.ly/pleasurebirth. You'll get everything that we talked about today. You'll get lots of more tips and resources from the 2 of us. And I'll also send you some more information about this combined offer in the coming days.
Fantastic. And will you put this in your Instagram profile? Can they get it from there as well?
Oh, should I put the bit.ly in the Instagram profile? Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. That's a good idea.
People that are like, sometimes I know I get challenged listening to it. And it's always nice to just go, okay, go to Sheila's Instagram and the link will be there.
Yeah, I can do that. Is there a way for me to even post the link in this video?
I think in the comments.
Okay. Let me see if I can do that. So this is our first time doing this. If I go to copy and paste it, you won't disappear, right?
I don't know about that.
Okay, so why don't we formally say that we've concluded this Instagram Live together. We've concluded sharing our tips. Is there anything, Debra, that you want to add?
I think we covered a lot. I would just say thank you to everyone who has joined us live, or anyone that might be watching it after, as you said, to send us private message if they have any comments. But are there any questions? I see there are several of you out there.
I see a lot of people, but I actually don't see any comments.
Okay.
So I think we should be okay. And I'm gonna go now and get the links to put in here.
Okay.
But just in case, I'm not turning off the light.
It's kind of, for me, blurred. There, you're back.
I'm back and I got the link, so I'm posting that. So there's the bit.ly link, and that'll give you all of the, you know, the way to opt in so we can get you all of that information. And maybe right there on that page, I'll add in some more info about our two classes.
Fantastic.
Debra, is yours time sensitive at all? Does it start at a certain time, or is it like you do it as you go along? It's evergreen.
So whenever people would like to begin, you have access for 1 full year. So if you're planning a pregnancy, or you are pregnant this year, or you are a birth practitioner that would like more about pleasure and birth, you can join at any time. And we have, and Sheila, we can add it to your page, we have a free sample class. So if people wanted to just experience the sample, they can do that as well through you.
Yeah, so definitely if you want that sample, I can send it out via the bit.ly as well. So just sign up there and you'll get all of that. And then as far as my class, Ecstatic Goddess, starts on January 31st. So you have a little bit of time, you know, to decide whether or not you'd like to join us. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Debra, this was fun. We did it.
Really fun. Thank you. We both kind of pushed through our, you know, being a little nervous.
Yeah.
Find pleasure doing it together. It's the value of community. So yeah. I hope everyone will join and find that community, hopefully with us, but wherever. It takes a village. It truly does.
Yes. And when you're going counterculture, you have to be fierce.
Yes.
Thank
you, everyone. Sheila. Thanks so much.
Us.
This was great.
Thank you, Debra. Lots of love. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, now I got to figure out how to save it.